Our next speaker is Danny Summers. Danny is the Habitat Program Coordinator for the Utah Division of Wildlife Resources at the Great Basin Research Center and Seed Warehouse in Ephraim, Utah. He earned a bachelor's and master's degree from Brigham Young University in Wildlife and Rangeland Resources. Welcome, Danny.
All right, thank you, Jamin. I'm going to talk about habitat restoration and what's been going on in Utah. We have a fairly unique program that's a really large landscape, statewide program to restore watersheds and habitat, and we've been really proactive, and that's going to be the main focus of my talk, and also we'll show some project results towards the end and talk about what trends are that we deal with with seed and seeding these projects. So to begin with, why is the Division of Wildlife Resources in Utah interested in restoration? Why am I here? I come to these conferences and usually I'm the only person representing wildlife agencies in the West. Our agency in Utah has been really proactive throughout the last 60 years in the field of habitat and range and restoration. Our resource goal with the division is to expand wildlife populations and conserve sensitive species by protecting and improving wildlife habitat. And this goal recognizes the importance of a properly functioning habitat. So it's been a really important part of what we do and kind of unique to wildlife agencies. Some of the major threats we have identified and face in Utah are loss and to lose our habitat and have it be degraded is human expansion and development, which can be tough to deal with. Poorly managed grazing, more so in the past than today, but that's also a problem. Pinyon juniper expansion, and that's an area where we do a lot of work, and I have a lot of results to show from that. Sagebrush, lack of age diversity, and lack of understory, and basically, as Jamin and Erica have talked about, only having that one phase of a community of an ecological site across the landscape. We'd like to see a mosaic of phases across the landscape. We deal with the fire cycle now and the big catastrophic wildfires that we're all dealing with today. Invasive species is a huge major one, of course. And then we also deal with aspen decline in our upper elevations. So about 10 years ago, in Utah, we have a group called the Utah Partners for Conservation and Development, and they started what's now called the Utah's Watershed Restoration Initiative, and this is a huge partnership-driven initiative that is really getting a lot of work done on the ground, and is I think it's just to see all these different groups come together is really phenomenal, and has created a lot of great relationships across boundaries throughout the state of Utah. So the Watershed Restoration Initiative is sponsored by the UPCD, the Utah Partners. So what is the Utah Partners? Utah Partners for Conservation and Development were founded in 1993 and kind of reconvened in 2003 when we went through the drought those years, and we had some major sagebrush die-offs that they wanted to address. The Directors Council, which is the leaders of the major federal and state agencies, including academia and NGOs, got together and kind of started this partnership again, and their motto is to serve as a clearinghouse for coordinating and sharing participants' conservation concerns and priorities, discussing potential solutions, and for fostering an atmosphere where collaboration becomes the rule rather than the exception for implementing conservation activities. And so we've built this partnership where everybody has a voice, everybody has opportunity to participate. Some of the partners that the UPCD include, and some of the big players, are the Utah Department of Natural Resources, who I work for, and the Bureau of Land Management is another huge major partner. But all these other federal and state agencies are partners and play a role in the partnership. So the Watershed Restoration Initiative is an effort to conserve and restore and manage ecosystems in priority areas across the state. And so we have local teams that develop and implement projects. We've divided the state into 5 regions, and in each region there's regional teams that meet together. They elect a chair and a co-chair for 1 or 2 year terms, and they kind of run the meetings, and they come together, and everybody can come together, propose projects, and then what's really happened is over time, since 2004 and 5, when this really started, the quality of the projects continues to improve because you get this feedback of you have to bring your project, you have to present it to the group, and there's a way to have constructive criticism of how to make the projects better and why it might not work or what needs to be done, and everybody has input to these projects and can make them successful, and I think they have a really good atmosphere for people to collaborate and work together. The goals of the Watershed Initiative are to improve wildlife and biological diversity, improve water quality and yield for all users, and increase opportunities for sustainable uses. And like I said, all these different partners are a major player, and the Utah Department of Natural Resources plays a lead role in some of the logistical work there, and some of the other, and the BLM is also another huge partner that's contributed just a lot to this, and just come all in with everybody, and it's made a major difference to have these big players in the group. But everybody's welcome all the way down to the regular private rancher, and all these different groups come together and propose projects each year. So one of the things that makes this work really well is we've got a Geodatabase web app that everybody, so all the projects are input through this database, and which has taken a big investment just to get this web database online, and so that way we can track all the projects, all the funding, every different pot of money that comes together that we fund or that we compile. Everybody brings it together, and then we can manage it all as one. The database gives accessibility to anyone. You can see what projects are being proposed, which ones are approved. It can generate reports of the different what the proposal was and what their objectives were, and also have geospatial, have maps of where the project is planned for. And there's also the opportunity to comment, and when it's going through the comment period of the different players can comment on each other's projects and try to make them better, and when there's concerns about different things, then those concerns can be heard. This is just a screenshot of one of the projects, and we've got, I made that same mistake there. We've got tabs here for just all these regular information, what equipment, what seeds can be used, the archaeology that has to be done, funding, and all these different things that for each individual project. The funding cycle, proposals are due by January 1, and then in the late winter, January, February, the regions get together and they rank the projects by importance, and they've developed rankings, a point system to rank the projects, ones that affect, that will endanger species will receive higher ranks, projects that go across boundaries also, receive higher rankings. We don't want to just be working on your land and then another project on somebody else's land. We want to look at the landscape scale and be working across those boundaries. Then in March and April and May, the proposals are funded. A lot of the sportsmen's groups love to pay for some of these if they're going to affect big game. They like to put their names on them. There's all these different pots of money that we try to find a match. What will fit the projects best? What will these different groups they can pay for different projects? And the Utah State Legislature has kicked in $2 million annually that we get to leverage, and BLM brings a lot of funding to the table. They run their fuels program through this, and then we can improve their fuel reduction projects to improve wildlife habitat and other projects. And so it's kind of this, bring it all together and we can make it as best as possible. By early May, the projects are funded, and the project manager knows what he's got to work with, and July 1st, at the beginning of our state fiscal year, the funds are available, and they have a year to complete their project. And the funds don't carry over usually. Sometimes they will if the circumstances require that, but it's kind of a one-year cycle that have to go through. So this is where I come in. I'm at the Great Basin Research Center and Seed Warehouse in Ephraim, which I guess you need to be cold hardy to live there, and I've been there for 5 years, so I guess I'm starting to come around. At the GBRC in Ephraim, we do short-term, long-term research on habitat improvement projects and plant materials development. We heard yesterday from Jason Steller, our native flora biologist, who's working with the Great Basin Native Plant Selection and Increase Project. Then the other things we do there, we maintain, we're kind of the logistical backbone of this watershed restoration initiative. We house restoration equipment there. We maintain it, repair it, deliver it. We try to develop new technologies, and as this logistical center, we try to make it so the project managers in the field, they don't have to deal with much in terms of acquiring seed or acquiring equipment for their project. These are all available to anybody within the partnership. So then the seed warehouse part of the GBRC